Hello, Nokomis neighbors. Nate Lansing here. Well, it's October. The wind is blowing. I think we're going to see our very first snowflakes of the season. It is officially fall. And fall has seen some pretty significant changes in the housing market here in the Nokomis area. So let's take a look at the numbers and see what's going on. Also, I want to talk a little bit about this potential recession word we keep hearing about out there in the national news. So let's get to the numbers and see what happened in the month of September. In the month of September, there were 70 new listings in the Nokomis area. That was down from the previous month. Not particularly surprising. As we head into fall, we usually see listing activity drop a bit. So nothing too surprising there. As of now, as of today, there are 82 active listings in the Nokomis area. Pretty flat for the last couple of months. We are noticing that sales activity has kind of dropped a bit as well. So let's take a look at that. 62 closed sales in the month of September. That's down from August. Again, it's kind of a typical fall season. People always say, you know, no one wants to move in the middle of winter in Minnesota, which is true. Days on market, the average day on market for the month of September was 13 days. Still really short. It's not as short as it was, you know, earlier in the year in March and in April when things were just absolutely crazy, but it's still really short. I mean, we're still seeing a low inventory environment out there. So houses are selling pretty quickly. At least some of them are, and I'll get to that in a second. The average price for the month of September was $284,950. Another all-time record for the Nokomis area. We just kind of keep seeing it. Not big jumps in prices from month to month, but it's just slightly climbing, and they continue to rise. Month supply was actually up to 1.5. What that means is if you took all the active houses and divided it by the number of sales for the month, it would give you the amount of time it would take for all of the houses to sell out. So typically, you know, anything under 3 is a seller's market. This number is actually up, and when we were seeing numbers down at 1, even below 1 earlier in the year. So you can see that things have slowed down, at least relatively, from where we were in May or March, early spring. So what does this mean for you as a buyer or seller? If you are a seller, it's still a good time to list your house. Demand and sales have dropped a bit as we've entered the fall, which is typical. It also depends kind of in the bracket of where your home is. So if you're looking at a house that's priced in that starter range, 200 to really low 300s, houses are still selling really quickly. If your house is more of a move-up house, in the upper 4s to over 5 in the Nokomis area, anything over 5 in the Nokomis area is kind of the top of the market for our area. We've seen sales really slow down in that bracket. Showings have kind of dropped. And I can attribute that a little bit to, kind of the uncertainty of what's going to happen in the next 6 months or so. If you're a buyer, it's actually a good time to buy. Interest rates dropped again. We're down, I think, at 3.5 the last time I checked. All-time low mortgage rates. So it's a great time to buy from that perspective. It's actually a good time to buy seasonally as well, because there's not as much competition for you as a buyer out there. Like I said earlier, people aren't wanting to move during the winter, so if you are thinking about buying a house in the next 6 months, now is the time to start looking. You got a better chance to find a deal out there than you would, say when we hit March. So if you're thinking of buying, it's something that you should really look into. Quick note on this big R word we're hearing out there in the national media. Recession. There's a lot of talk of, is a recession coming? When? How soon? I just wanted to note that any recession that we may see in the next 12 months or so is not going to be like 2008. 2008 saw housing prices drop significantly, basically because the recession was caused by housing and bad mortgages. That is not the case at all now here in 2019. We may see a slowdown in the economy as a whole, but typically in the last three of the last five recessions that we've seen housing prices continue to climb. So we'll probably see price appreciation slow a bit, but it's still projected to be in the 2 to 3% range for housing appreciation. So don't let this R word scare you off about what may happen to housing here in the next year or 18 months. I still expect the housing in the Nokomis area to be strong. Hopefully we'll see some more inventory as we go moving forward, but houses are still in high demand in the Nokomis area. So that's kind of the summary of what's going on in the market, what happened in the month of September, what we may see going forward. So if you have any questions at all about either buying or selling or making an investment or even remodeling, just feel free to reach out to me and I'd be happy to answer any questions you may have. Once again, thanks very much for watching, and I will see you around the neighborhood. Enjoy the snow.